Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're all absolutely awesome. Today, I've got the privilege of interviewing or working with John Wilson. And we're going to be talking a lot about Allan Pease questions are the answers. But before we do that, John, it was the Newcastle Buzz last night. You were there. The feedback this morning has been absolutely awesome, completely off the charts. So please, tell us what went on and what you were doing and what you were covering.
Cheers, Mark. Well, firstly, what we covered was understanding people's personalities. So within this business, we all have the same skill, well, not the same skills, the same compensation plan, same business, etc., etc. What we don't all do is understand people. And this business is a people business. It's not a customer gathering. It's not recruitment. It's about working and developing and knowing about different people. So we worked on the colour personalities last night, and how you can tweak and turn and down your certain personalities, understanding yourself first and foremost, but then secondly, the people you're bringing into your team, and also how you can recruit as well using the personality colours. And on the back of that, we use the Allan Pease questions are the answers. So it was getting people's buying motive rather than us telling them why they should be joining. Because once you've got that, people should be joining automatically once they've figured out what their needs are.
Okay, so it sounds like to me the that colours thing is something else that we should maybe be getting together and recording and sharing this out for people because this recording that we're doing now, yes, it was for a webinar, but we actually think you're going to be able to use this over and over again to revisit on how to use the skills. I'm also going to include a copy of the link for Allan P's questions and the answers, so you can also play that again. But this is how we're able to use this in this business. So I just want to put a little bit of backstory into this. So I've been involved in this business now for 17 years, getting on towards 18 years actually. In that time period, I've recruited hundreds of partners. John Wilson, who's on the call with me, has done. John, what have you done? 500
Over
plus.
500 since COVID,
Over
personally.
500 since COVID. Now, how do we recruit those numbers and how do we get people going and moving? And this for me is one of the skills that I learned fairly early on. How to communicate with people, how to understand their buying motive, what it was they wanted from the business, and that allowed me to get to senior group leader really, really quickly. When John's put this into practice from COVID, it's really helped him get to senior group leader very quickly from COVID as well. So there is a direct correlation to how your team is growing and moving based on how well you use these skills. So, why we want you to be using them. First of all, it does feel like it's rejection free. I don't know if that's the case for you, John, but you get a lot more people keener and wanting to know more. That's my personal feeling anyway, when we ask questions with regards to this. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's saying less to more people and being a good listener rather than a seller. We're not selling something. We need to sit back, listen, understand people, and then we're just finding or using utility warehouse as the solution to all their needs and their wants
All their needs and
and
their
their
wants. So,
pains.
okay, great. Now, as I said, if you've not heard of Allan P's questions, the answers before, don't worry about that. We're going to cover all of that as we go through. But essentially, John's hit the nail on the head. It's about listening and us talking less, asking questions, and really listening and engaging in the answers. So I think what we should do now is think about if we now know why we need to be doing it, John. So when should we be doing this part of this part in our presentation? So we're delivering a presentation to people at the moment. When would be a good time to fit this in, do you think?
In the presentation, the last slide or the one before it says who would it benefit. It's how much is important to you, and then we can delve a little bit deeper and we can ask the right questions to get the right answers on that slide. But you can use this literally anytime when you're prospecting, when you're speaking to people. Once you get to grips of it and you understand it, you're asking these questions on a daily basis before we do presentations, before we get onto that stage. But as in the presentation, use it on that last slide.
Okay, excellent stuff. So we're using that presentation, but yeah, as you say, the skills improve. We get better at using it, and all of a sudden we realize we're asking more questions in our lives and really listening for the answers. And that works in literally every single area of life. I've used this as coaching things, you know, when people are maybe lacking a little bit of motivation or or they say, oh, like, I know what I need to do, I'm just not doing it. Great. Okay. So, you know, why are you doing this business? What's important to you? And before you know it, quite naturally, as a in a coaching way, you've started running through Allan Pease questions are the answers, and you've run through this process, and it generates you then great connection, great conversations, and a much better understanding for both you and them as to why they want to be building this business and why this business is the solution to their challenges and the problems that they've got. So with that in mind, John, how are we going to do this? Should we have a run through? Shall I be the guinea pig? You can run through this on me, and we do it that way. What do you think?
Yeah, let's give it a bash. Before we go into it, there is two ways you can do it as well.
Okay.
So one of the things I use is when we go to coffee shops or meet somebody in a bar, a prospect who's looking at the business.
Yeah.
I would actually interview them before we go through the business. So I would use the questions and the answers and finding the buying motive and then showing them what it is that we do.
Okay. So just explain that then. So let's say we've met up. We've met up. You've arranged with me to have a meeting because I've expressed an interest in making some extra money or something like that, or I'm just one of your friends that you're just having a catch up with, and you've said you've got something you want to show me. Is it that sort of thing?
Yeah, so you can be interested in not a bar with somebody, be a coffee, having a catch up. And if somebody has interest in earning extra income, however you set that appointment up, I had it all on the back of my business card, I still do.
Yeah.
All the different priorities that most people would pick in life, such as financial freedom, pension pot, recession proof, etc., etc. And I'll just flip that over. I'll say, look, we'll do all the formalities, we'll get chatting, do all the foreplay, as we say beforehand. And then after that, I'll say, look, I want to make sure you're right for the team and vice versa. So straight away, they're not on the back foot, but they're setting themselves up and they're going, hang about, I am right for your team. So they're going to sell themselves to me rather than me trying to get them to join, if that makes sense.
So that changes the real sort of the posture of, look, I want you to join my team. Please join my team too. We're going to see now whether you're right to join our team because I'm only spending my time with the people who are serious about this. Now that is a real posture difference, isn't it, than us just trying to recruit anybody that we can and hope they join and hope they do something to, no, you're only joining if you're right. Which I think is a great stance to take because I've certainly in the past I'll hold my hands up. I will say I've recruited people that need this business, not people that want this business, and there's a big difference between the two. And I found that I've run around a lot. I've spent a lot of time, wasted a lot of time trying to, convince them to build a list, convince them to make phone calls, convince them to do appointments, convince them to do the training, convince. And eventually I've realized I'm doing more work than they're doing. And it doesn't work out. And I don't know if anyone else has had that experience or felt like that, but certainly that's what I've done. So, to change that point and go, no, this is a solution for you based on what you've said. I think we can work together. It just sets the right tone from the off, doesn't it? I love that. Great point.
And I have walked away from appointments and said, look, the time's not quite right for you. What do you mean? Said, the timing isn't quite right for you at the moment, but let's stay in touch from time to time. And when the timing's right and you're ready to join the team, let's get you started. Because when people then do join, they're on the front foot straight away. Like you're saying, when you're convincing people to join, you're convincing them to do their online training, do the appointments, everything else. But if you bring them in the other way, they're convincing you that I've made the right choice by bringing them into the team. So they want to impress rather than be impressed upon.
Brilliant. No, I love it. So great point at the beginning, sets it up at the start. So let's imagine then. So I think what we'll do, John, is we'll go through it now. So I'm going to set the scene. You've rung me and said, Mike, there's this idea I want to run by you. Let's get together for a coffee and we're gonna run through stuff. So we've had our chit chat at the beginning. So we've had our quick little catch up. How have you been? How's half term going? All of that stuff. Yeah. And then what we're going to do is you're going to run into this. So I've actually got a copy of kind of what you could be, what the questions and the stuff of what you would the stuff that you would
On the
show
back of
people.
this,
So
yeah.
I'm going to bring that up on the
Business.
screen now. So hopefully, please tell me if you can see this. Is that there?
I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. So hopefully everyone else can see this as well. And what we'll do is as we go through this, just keep referring, refer back to this, and you'll notice that John will be answering the. He's going to ask me to look at this section here first and pick my opportunity, and then he's going to ask these questions. Now, John, do you choose which order you ask these questions in? You mix them around. How does it work? What's the best way to do it?
The best way to do it is as it says there, follow that system, because you're finding the motive and the reason, but then at the end you're finding their pain. So you're giving them what they'd actually do want, and at the end you're finding out what would happen if you didn't change, and that's the pain. So you're giving them something, and then you get the pain. So they're actually buying into the whole concept before you even run through what it is that we do.
Okay, excellent. So with that in mind, then you're not going to make me cry, are you? Because I know I've done this a few times. And sometimes people have gone into tears. Please don't make me cry, because that's going to be embarrassing, because it's going to be on the video forevermore. But yeah, so we've sat down. Then we've got our coffee, we've got our drinks in our hand. Fire away. How do we do it?
So, Matt, before we go into what it is I do, I just want to make sure you're right for the business or right for the team and vice versa. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So, as you can see on the back of my card, on the making money section, which one of them would be your number one priority out of interest?
Well, I'm already my own boss, so that's I've already ticked that one. Choosing the hours I work, and I guess financial freedom and residual income. This, passive income is, it's something I've read about, and so it's a mixture of those three, but I think it all comes down to that freedom and having money coming in, really.
Okay. Freedom meaning?
Being able to choose, being able to choose when I work, not having. I do a lot of hours at the moment, so not having to go right. I'm in the office at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'll leave at 11 o'clock at night, and working like that 6-7 days a week. Feeling like I can take time off and not worry too much about taking that time off, I guess. And if I want to go and do something for the day, I can go. I'm not at someone else's beck and call. To spend that time with the kids and things. That would be, the what I'd be looking for, really.
Okay. So why did you pick that one out of all of them?
Well, I think they're all important, and I think they're all nice. They're all nice to have. But for me, that as I said, that flexibility of being able to choose what you do. I don't feel I've got choices at the minute. I feel like I've got to be in certain places and do set things. And I'm looking for ways to get that time back to really feel free.
Okay. Free meaning?
Well, yeah, just do what I want, when I want, with who I want, how I want, go where I want. Yeah, just not the 9 to 5 run of the mill. That I want to be out. I want to be enjoying myself. I want to be able to travel and take holidays and have experiences that I didn't. I'm not able to do.
Okay. So experiences such as?
Well, like following rugby tours and chasing sporting events around the world. Being able to start a family, and know I've got time to be able to spend with them. Being able to just sometimes it's just those random days out. Just do you want to go and play rugby here? Do you want to go to this event? Or we're going to go down to London this weekend, watch some rugby? Or do you want to come? My answer usually is no. I ain't got time. I've not got time. I've not got time. I've not got time. So,
okay.
Yeah, to be able to just have more things going on in life would be nice, other than work.
Brilliant. And why is that important to you in your case, Mark? to have that flexibility of the time. And you talk about family there as well, and being there for your family as they're growing up and chasing things that you want to go and experience. So why would that be important to you?
Well, I guess that's what's, life's supposed to be about, isn't it? Living and experiences and joy and having all of those things, not this run of the mill, you're supposed to have a work-life balance, but I think it's very much tipped in the work scales, not the life, scales. And I've got to be doing more with that. And otherwise, what are we working for? What are we doing things for, really? If we're not there and getting enjoyment from everything else in our life, how do we keep motivated, excited, and enthusiastic about what we're doing? Yeah.
Okay. So what would be the consequences, Mark, of having to carry on doing what you're doing? Like you said, that going to work to the 9 to 5, missing out on family life, or not going to go and do them sporting events that you mentioned there. So what would be the consequences of not finding something that allowed you to do that?
First of all, like it's just been miserable, wouldn't it, really? And this thing of working 9 to 5, that'd be nice if I was only working 9 to 5, that'd be ace. But yeah, why are we doing all this stuff? Like, genuinely, I think I'd get a few years down the line and I'd just be wondering what I was doing. I'd feel lost, disheartened, demotivated. Just really,
Disheartening meaning.
just like ready to give up and quit, really. Like, what where would any joy be coming from, or anything that we want to be experiencing? Like, just not being able to do any of those things. I mean, that's gonna weigh heavy. That is gonna really weigh you down. I think I'd just be miserable, to be honest. I'd be really struggling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see it's important to you. But why would that worry you then? If that happened, you got further down the line and you were more miserable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think when you're not happy and in a positive place, it really affects your health, doesn't it? And the stress and pressure of dealing with all that. I've had a few little health challenges in the past. I think that would cause serious issues and repercussions coming on again. So that is really worrying from that point of view. But also just having nothing to look forward to, nothing going on to look forward to. That you know, how do you change? I'd just be on that wheel, just going round and round and round. It'd be like Groundhog Day every day, just doing the same thing over and over and over again, and never feeling like I was getting anywhere and I was doing it for any reason. So, that really does worry me. Really
You
does.
mentioned about your being there in the freedom aspect for future family reasons. Why
Hmm.
would that worry you?
Well, look, when I grew up, my mum worked a lot of hours, my dad worked a lot of hours. That they were just not as round as much as as I guess they would have wanted to be. They're just working overtime and they're doing this and they're doing that and they're doing what they think they need to do. And I'm finding myself on the same wheel, almost doing the same things. It's not great. It's just not what I would want. And if I'm going to be a parent, I want to be there. I want to be flexible. I want to be around and be able to take part in things and be able to go to all the sports days and have that time to do that and that flexibility to do that without, you know, otherwise what's the point of having a family if you can't spend any time with them? If you're spending all your time in your office on your own, what's the point in being with anyone else?
So
That's not what I want. I need to be around people and I want to be with people.
being present's important as well then.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That would it's so hard to do when you've got 1,001 things running around in your head. And if you can't be able to put that down and leave it and running my own business, I'm not able to do that at the moment.
Okay. So listening to you there, Mark, I
Mm,
feel as though you are ambitious and motivated, and you're going to be the right type of people we would like to be working alongside.
okay.
So if I showed you something that would allow you to have that more flexibility, that time freedom, financial freedom, you said right at the start, of being able to be present for your family as you're growing up, and spending more time with people that you want to spend time with, rather than being dictated by what's going on around you. So you're in control and not somebody else. Is that something that would interest you?
Yeah, massively.
Okay,
Massively.
fantastic. So then I'll go through the presentation.
So, a couple of things that I've just noticed that you've done there were really, really key. When you asked me what, oh dear, sorry. When you asked me what the consequences of not having that are, and why would that worry me, I felt like the energy and enthusiasm had completely drained out of me. Like I was like, oh, like I did genuinely feel low thinking about those things. Because for me, that's not stuff I like to think about anyway. I just like to think on the positive. So I did notice that. And I think when you're doing that with other people, you will notice it. But what you did then was you recapped with all the positive stuff that I'd said throughout that whole presentation. You'd made little mental notes. Now I don't know if you made physical notes or whether it was just mental notes. I guess I suppose it wouldn't matter if you were making mental notes or written notes, would it? If you were running through with someone, but the main thing is when you then started to say all that stuff, it made me feel better because I was thinking about where we were going and we're going to go on this journey. And it felt like we were going on this journey together with the way the conversation went. Now, it felt natural. It's a bit weird, the very beginning bit going, out these, which one would be your number one priority? That's the only bit that feels a little bit weird because as soon as you've done that and they've given you an answer, it then just naturally feels, oh, that's interesting. So why did you pick that one?
What I find is, because in everyday life, most people don't get listened to.
Yeah.
So that first section is a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But once you get the flow and you are just shutting up, listening, because how many people have that opportunity to actually speak for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And all you're doing is sitting back, listening and controlling that conversation. And people do just start to open up like a flower, really. They're a bit tight at the beginning and they'll open up and they're more open to the conversation because I am genuinely listening.
Yeah.
What would happen if I was butting in all of the time and taking over that conversation? What do you think you would have felt then, Mark?
Well, initially, it felt like every normal conversation you ever have with anyone, wouldn't it? Because, quite often, especially, and this is what salespeople do, and this is what's key, right? So they go, financial freedom. Yeah, I'd like this. Oh, that's it. Great. That's exactly what I wanted. I did it for financial freedom. I got this. I got it. And you put your views across. What we forget is what you think doesn't matter. It does not matter whatsoever. Whatever it is that they say, if they say it, it's true. And that's one of the key messages with Allan Pease. So by getting me to say it, what you've made me do is really buy into why I think this is a good idea to at least look at this, not prejudge, think, he's just going to sell to me this, that, and the other. But if you'd have come in and gone, oh yeah, you choose where you work. Yeah, I was the same. I used to work at, in a gym. I did this, I did that. That's what this has allowed me to do. Da, 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 da. Great, but that's, you can still share your story to help re-emphasize it as you run through the presentation briefly. But in that moment, that was all about me. And it's quite nice being all about me. I think I might have to listen. I might have to have you listen to me more often. Oh, dear.
That's why everyone says I'm more like a counsellor and just people sort of open up. And like you said, people genuinely have just been, I've just met the people as well.
Yeah.
Literally in tears.
Yeah.
Because you're finding out the actual motive that motivates them. And when you're thinking about bringing people into the business, if they've already found the consequences and they don't want to go down that dark alley, but you've shown them the light of what is achievable, what is possible with our help and support. So when they sign and join for that £10, it's not the £10, it's the stuff that they've just talked about. So when negative things happen further on down the line, which stuff happens, doesn't it? Because we're a service-based company, stuff might go wrong, but you just go back to the reasons why. Do you remember that conversation, Mark? You said about that freedom aspect. You want to be present for your kids and you want to go follow these sporting events, etc. Are we giving up on that? You don't have to say it in them particular words, but you're basically throwing the ball back into their court and they're going, well, yeah, I didn't actually want to do that. I don't want financial freedom. but they
Yeah, I
do.
don't want freedom. I don't want flexibility. I want to be miserable. It's not worth my auntie's broadband not going live on the day it said and going live 4 days later. You know, you're right, because I think with a lot of people, they really understand and they've connected with their reason for looking at this and doing it. Those little hiccups in the bumps in the road, it's just part of the journey, and that's fine. And that's certainly how it was for me when I started. Did everything go smooth with all the customers I signed at the beginning? No. Does it matter? No. It's just the way it is, right? Some of the key things that you did that I just want to like highlight, and when people listen to the Allan Pease YouTube thing, they'll notice it, but it's the encouraging things. So you repeated stuff back to me, which then meant I automatically talked more about it. So you go, so freedom. What's freedom? And you don't even necessarily say what does freedom mean to freedom meaning. Sometimes you just say freedom and then shut up again. And then it encourages them to carry on. Other things that you do, and you're doing it right now, as I'm talking and you're agreeing with me, 1, 2, 3, stop. You're nodding, 1, 2, 3, stop. And I've noticed while you've been doing it, I've been doing the same thing because I'm agreeing with you and going, yeah. And the more you do that when you're sat with someone, you're running through it, it's an encouraging sign to get them to keep talking. The book's great as well. So if you're a reader, read the book. The audio program's good. It's not as in depth as the book. There's actually a lot more stuff in the book if you do want to go and get it. But I think that's been a genuinely a fantastic overview. And then because now you understand my buying motives, right, and what's important to me, not just this list here, but the things of travel, the freedom, the flexibility, the having experiences, the being able to be there for your kids and do all of those things. Now you know how to use this in the presentation as you run through it. So when you talk about residual income, when you talk about simplifying things for people, all of those things here, you can say, so you said X, Y, Z, and you can, and I bet naturally you do that without even thinking about it. Remember you said about this, well, this is how that's going to help, this is how that's going to work for you.
Because otherwise, like you're saying, it's about them, about you. Sorry. So you'll go through with your experience, and you'll go, "Well, I'm doing it because I love the fact I'm spending time with my kids." But they might not have kids, or they might not want kids.
Yep.
So that's not their buying motive. It could be a pension pot, or like whatever it is. They need to say it, and they've said it already. So as I'm going through, I'll just highlight as I'm going through. But I don't know if you've got it on there, Mark, or not, but the last slide, you can actually use the questions or the answers on the last slide as well of the presentation.
The last slide of the actual presentation. Let's just quickly open that up then.
So if you don't have it on your business cards or whatever, and it's a referral, for example, it might have been a referral from your friend, and you haven't had time to go through this process with them. They're not looking to physically join the business at the moment because they don't know there's a business attached to it at this particular point. But you can also ask these questions in the presentation.
So there we go. There we go. This is our, let's get to that last slide. Do you mean that one or do you mean the one before?
The one before this one.
That one.
So a lot of people talk about recruitment and how hard it can be. I'm not going to say it's easy because nothing's easy, but it comes second nature to me as in recruitment. I prefer to help somebody seriously change their lives rather than shaving 20, 30 quid off the bills. For me, this is what gets my buzz going. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I want people to join and get excited about the prospect of their life and whatever they want out of life, rather than going, oh yeah, it's nice to save 20 quid off my bill, thank you, I might pass you on to somebody. That doesn't excite me, but giving them hope really, really gets me excited about this business. And this is where you want to spend all of your time on your presentation. The other bits, yes, your customer side, it's a byproduct.
You play your video, whatever it is, through the presentation, blah, blah, blah. This is what we do. This is why we do it. All right.
Yeah.
We need to explain why we do it. And like you've just said there, John, this is what gets your buzz going. This is what gets you excited. And when you know their buying motives, this is why they're going to do it. Right. That's what's important. Why they want to do it. You've got all that information and you can talk. That's what you talk about and reiterate here. So yeah, and if you don't, you go through, you ask those questions, you get this information, and you run through it that way. It is a genuine skill, but it's a skill that makes the difference. And not only that, you know, what we talk about when we introduce new partners, what's the first thing we need to find out? Why they want to do it? Well, you should know this by the time they've joined if you've been running through this. And then you can just expand on that. That makes that conversation so much easier, doesn't it? Because you already know where your starting point is. Because you said, so remember when you registered, you said you wanted X, Y, and Z. Tell me a little bit more about that. Let's get that down on a sheet. This is what you're working towards. This is why an extra £2,000 in your first month is going to help you achieve this. That sort of thing, isn't it? So yeah,
Absolutely.
excellent stuff.
So shall I just put a little bit of meat on this slide for them?
Yep.
So it's just, because sometimes people struggle to get the conversation going on here.
Yep.
So similar to the list that we had at the start, we don't have the list. I am trying to get head office to put them back on, but at the moment you can just still ask the same question. So how much extra will make a difference to your current life, Mark? Would it be a little extra cash up to £250, or would it be some serious extra income, or some financial security that gives you financial freedom? Out of them three, which would be your number one priority?
Oh, financial security.
Okay, financial security meaning?
For me, that's like all your bills paid, everything covered before you start the month, you know. Just being in that free feeling that no matter what gets thrown at you, you've got the money to sort it. No stress, no worry, just relaxation.
And then from there, you'll just do the same questions.
Why
Why
is
did
that?
you pick that one? Why is that important to you? What are the consequences of you not? And
Why would that
would
worry
that
you?
worry you?
Hmm.
And then they've told you everything. And so when you go on the last slide and you ask them both, if they say, so the last slide, after going through all of that, Mark, which would be the most important to you? Like, do you want to save money as a customer, earn money as a partner, or like most people, especially what we've just talked about, would want to do both?
Well, it's got to be both, John.
Because if you don't say both now, you've told me all the previous stuff was a load of false, load of rubbish, basically, haven't you?
Interesting. Yeah, and we wonder why some people recruit more than others. Conversations that we have and how we listen to them. John, is there anything else you want to add on Allan Pease, or is it just a case of get it, listen to it, run through this? We've given the examples of how to use it. You know, you can. I'm going to share a YouTube link, which means you can play it. It's just an audio, it's not a video, but you can just play it in the car. You can play it wherever. Just listen to it over and over and over again. I'll tell you now. I've listened to it dozens and dozens and dozens of times. I know John has listened to it dozens and dozens of times. That's why we do it naturally in conversation. You know, you can use this at trainings, at events. I've had conversations with people after buzzes, you know, when they've been feeling a little down. We've done it. I've done it, used it in coaching sessions. I've used it in sales things. I've used it with the kids. You know, I've used it with everybody. And this, you know, and it's just what we want to be doing.
But I think like you were saying there, listen to it, understand it, but the most important thing is use it and practice and have fun with it. I mean, I remember, well, a lot of in our team, we have fun and just say, look, I'm going to go and Allan Pease him, or like you say, you do it with the kids naturally, you can do it with your partner, and
Yeah.
you can just have the conversation. Because how many of your partners have that time as well of just being listened to? You can ask
Really.
them the same thing, and you're picking up the skills. So it's just about being a good listener, but most importantly, just get out and have fun with it, try it, and see how you get on. Because we have, like I say, we have fun. I know there's some in my team will text me and say, "I've just Allan Peased him," or "I've done this, I've done that," and it just have a bit of a laugh with it.
It is, yeah. And like with anything, the more you do it, the more natural it becomes. You know, we used to say the same with scripts, didn't we? You know, when you first start saying it, it feels a bit wooden, a bit robotic, but then it just becomes part of natural conversation. And that's what this does. And you can use these key questions absolutely anywhere on anything. So the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. But you've got to start somewhere. So why not start today? John, massive thank you for your time. We have got another couple of videos we are going to record over the coming weeks. Two other subjects we want to cover. One from the stuff that you covered at the Newcastle Buzz, and then we've got something else as well that we've been talking about that we will cover. Use this stuff, go put it into action. John, thank you once again for your time. It's absolutely awesome having you on here, and I love working with you and having you as part of this. So great to see you and great to have you on board.
Thank you.
Thanks, John. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you all again very soon.